Have a look at this. They thought that this is how they're going to stop these horny men from assaulting European women.
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square.
Look at that guy there. Look at that big bloke. I'm sure he doesn't like this. He's not happy with this. But you know how corporations work. A directive comes from the top and everyone falls in line. All right, people. Something really good just happened in Europe. The European Parliament has voted in favor of progressing a stricter legal framework for the deportation of illegal migrants. In other words, the EU is now on board with mass deportations.
And it is adopted. So the okay.
Experts are saying that this is a landmark decision. So let me read you a little bit about that. On Thursday, the European Parliament approved the return regulation with a vote of 389 to 206 and 32 abstentions, endorsing offshore return hubs outside the 27-nation EU bloc to deport irregular migrants whose asylum applications were rejected. So basically, they're going to start deporting people. One nationality that has been causing a lot of havoc and sexual crimes in Germany and the EU at large is Syrian. Yes, there are some others as well, North Africans, Moroccans, Afghans, maybe not so much Pakistanis, Libyans. Over the last 10, 15 years, Europe has been severely punished for showing a bit of humanity. So Syrians are not happy because Chancellor Meers is actually now talking to Ahmed al-Shara, the Al-Qaeda leader of Syria, and Iran support Trump supporting them. So Chancellor Meers is actually in talks with al-Shara, the leader of Syria, and talking about mass deporting about 80% of all Syrians. And Syrians are not happy. Have a look at this. They are protesting. They're saying that they don't want to be deported and they're not going back. I don't actually understand that. I'm just trusting the comments by other people. That basically, these guys are saying no one can deport us back to Syria. Syria is amazing. Look at that. They're even waving Syrian flags, but they don't want to go to Syria. There was another video I played a few months ago where a Syrian was actually saying, why should we go back to Syria? Yeah, we like the new Syria, but here we get paid for doing nothing, which was a fair point. Europe thought that all people are equal, therefore nothing's going to go wrong, but the reality is different. Let me give you some statistics, okay? So when Europe allowed millions of migrants to come into its continent, it had some unintended consequences, mainly for women. Men got stabbed and women got raped. So I have some statistics for you. It all started from now what is known as the Cologne incident of 2015. Mass sexual assaults on New Year's Eve. Like hundreds of German women, they had never experienced anything like that. They were like, what? They were mass sexually assaulted by these horny men from third world cultures. Large number of suspects were identified as recent migrants. So after that incident, they thought that, maybe we can train these people. Because when some people said that, hey, these cultures don't mix, you're bringing in people from horny third world primitive cultures and releasing them into an advanced society like the European society, it's not going to go well. And they said, no, you're racist, you're bigot. We're going to train them. We're going to talk to them and it's going to be okay. So this is what they came up with. Have a look at this video. I don't know where it's from. It's from one of the European countries. Have a look at this. They thought that this is how they're going to stop these horny men from assaulting European women.
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square.
Look at that guy there. Look at that big bloke. I'm sure he doesn't like this. He's not happy with this. But you know how corporations work. A directive comes from the top and everyone falls in line. Let's do it again.
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square.
What's this? You gotta shake your booty like that in front of a horny Syrian or Afghan man. Ain't gonna work.
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square.
We need the Trump dance here. Anyway, so that's what they tried. But sorry to break it to you, as expected, it didn't work out. So I have some statistics for you. There's a whole report. In 2022, this is what they found. Sexual assaults / rape. There were 11,900 suspects of / sexual assaults in 2022. 60% of them, about 7,100 of them, were German nationals. And out of those German nationals, we don't know how many from non-German background, but let's just ignore that for a moment. Non-German nationals, 4,800. That's about 40%. Non-German nationals only make up about 4% of the entire German population. And they are represented in 40% of all sexual assaults and rapes. Who are the top offenders? Syrians, 1,000 to 1,100. Syrians, Afghans, Iraqis, and then Turks, and then Romanians and Bulgarians. So they're also slightly overrepresented. They're Europeans. But look at that. Syrians, Afghans, Iraqi, Turkish. 2021, similar pattern. Syrians, Afghans, and Iraqi. 2020. Syrians, Afghans, and Iraqi. So Syrians, Afghans, and Iraqi. What do they all have in common? Well, apart from the fact that they both come from highly misogynistic, third world, barbaric, corny cultures. Other than that, what's in common? They make up the biggest chunk of non-German people living in Germany. So that thing didn't work. So, actually, let me show you another video. This should actually anger you, okay? Have a look at this. This woman, Naomi Siebert, she is a German national. She took asylum in America because she said that Germany is not safe for women anymore. This Syrian man is saying, I hate German women very, very much. Men too, but that's my business. Okay, that's his business. Actually, he hates German women and he hates German men too, but that's his business, okay? How very open-minded of you. That's my business. I wasn't born bad treatment. I study psychology. Oh, look at this doctor psychologist. What is my reaction? Why I want to kill? Oh my goodness. But I don't do, it's not good for me. If I go to prison at 30, bro, you look like 48. So he's saying he hates German men and women, but he's not going to kill them because he doesn't want to go to jail at 30. So these are the kind of people. Actually, you know what? I can play you so many of these videos. And it's not just in Germany, by the way. This law is all across the EU member states. Yeah, I think there's 27 EU member states or something like that. Look at this. This happened on a French train. He looks either Indian or Pakistani. I don't know, probably Indian. Illegal migrant nonetheless. Look at this man. It looks Middle Eastern. French woman.
Demoiselle qui était sur le côté et je voulais lui offrir une cigarette.
Bah du coup c'est gentil mais je sais pas une cigarette.
Je ne fume pas.
Oh, look at him. Look at this horny guy behind. He's blowing air kisses. So anyway, so that's what they've done. This is what happens. I mean, you can't really complain about it. When you bring in millions of fighting age young men and then you let them stay in hotels, in the case of the UK, where they're networking, where they're talking to each other, they're bored, they have no money. What do you think is going to happen to them? What do you think they're going to do? Biology, physiology doesn't care about your morality. And on top of that, they already hate you. They already view Western women as dirty. And they deserve to be treated like that. So ICE-style deportations are coming to the EU. All these people who hated Trump for having ICE, now they're going to have it in their own countries. Everything backfires because it doesn't matter which side of the political spectrum you're on. What matters in the end is what is good for the people. You can have as many pronouns in your bio. You can have any lofty ideal out in the streets. You can attend as many anti-racist, anti-far right protests or whatever, but the buck stops at what is good for people. None of that is going to work in the end. If what you're defending or you're standing by is actually harmful for the mainstream society. Uncontrolled mass immigration is not good for anyone. This is not compassion. You're not doing anyone a favor by letting in millions of men, fighting age men from horny cultures into your society. You're not helping anyone. We've seen that in Spain as well. Rapes have gone through the roof. I played you this video a couple of days ago where the Spanish politician was telling you that how rapes have increased 300% in the last 5 years since Pedro Sanchez came to power by allowing all these men to come via Morocco.
Women and girls are far less safe in Spain as a direct consequence of mass migration. For example, rapes have almost quadrupled since Pedro Sanchez took power. In 2017, there were 1,382 reported rapes, and last year there were 5,363. This is an increase of 288%. Just to give you an example, is 15 women raped per day, and these are the ones we know of.
So yeah, a good step in the direction, but I don't know how it's going to translate into the real world. Actually, let me quickly read you what Meers is doing. So Chancellor Meers and Syrian President al-Shara discussed refugee return and reconstruction. So Meers announced that around 80% of Syrians currently residing in Germany are expected to return to their home country over 3 years. Both leaders agreed to establish a circular migration model enabling Syrian professionals to contribute to rebuilding, blah, blah, blah. So these people are going back. I just don't understand what happened to their claims of you being far right or racist or whatnot. Like, well, what happened? Like, why go through this? How many women's lives were destroyed in the process? I ran the story of a Spanish woman who was so damaged by her incident that she actually ended up having voluntary euthanasia. Why could these politicians come up with a better solution or do the thing that they're about to do now, some 10 years later, after so much needless suffering? Maybe that shows you that our democracies are actually very weak. Authoritarian countries don't have to go through these parliamentary bills and universal consensus and all that kind of crap. I don't know. Anyway, that's one step in the right direction.